the web app, its history, features, analytics, and the roadmap. It's part of our Lexical Tools Summit. So thanks for watching. So what about the history of LanguageForge? Where did this product come from? How did it come to be? As it turns out, the idea of an online lexical editor has been around for a while now. And in fact, if you didn't know this, there was a Drupal application sometime circa 2010 that was developed. It was called LanguageForge, and its purpose was an online lexical editor based on Drupal. Then that sort of thing never actually took off and was never completed, so another effort was made to build a LanguageForge online lexical editor in GWT. GWT, I don't think, is something that people pick anymore. Google Web Toolkit. Anyways, that never was completed or actually used as far as I know. Then in 2014, the Thailand team at Pipe Language Software embarked on a AngularJS web app, which is the current technical stack used for LanguageForge. It started from the same code base of the ScriptureForge version 1. So ScriptureForge is now on a completely rewritten tech stack, but LanguageForge continues on to the present day using AngularJS and PHP. So that's kind of where the history, I could tell you more about that, but anyways, we started something with LanguageForge, and I thought we'd watch like a throwback video from from the beginnings that kind of tell you a little bit more about what LanguageForge is about if you haven't watched it already, so we'll do that now.
The LanguageForge Lexical Editor is an online web application that enables easy access to your dictionary, whether it's complete, in progress, or just getting started. As a manager of your language project, you control who has access to what fields and to what extent. Role-based permissions allow you to give invited members observer, commenter, or editor abilities. Embedded into each entry is an extensive feedback mechanism to capture member comments, replies, and discussion about specific data in your project. As a manager, you can review comments and mark them as resolved or to do as part of a larger dictionary review process. LanguageForge can be used to solicit broad feedback from a wide community audience or enable easier access to your dictionary on the web to would-be contributors who aren't yet Flex savvy. LanguageForge has near real-time collaboration features, so you can see entries being edited and added by authorized contributors as you work. LanguageForge has user management and project management built in to help you stay in control of your data. With the new Send Receive with Flex feature, synchronizing data between the desktop and the web is as easy as clicking a button. Our prioritized development roadmap includes interface localization, a mobile-friendly UI, offline editing features, and crowdsourcing enhancements. LanguageForge can help you collaborate and share your dictionary in the way you want to, with the people you want to, with no additional software.
It is available today at languageforge.org. Okay, so that was kind of a throwback video. We definitely started something there with LanguageForge, and while it doesn't have all of the features like the offline editing and some of the crowdsourcing things, we did get part of the way through that. And so I've asked Robin Munn to actually give us a live demonstration of some of the features in LanguageForge, and then we'll talk about the analytics.
All right, so the first thing that you see when you go into LanguageForge is going to be a sign-in page. You can either type in a username or email, or you can click the sign in with Google. When you sign in, it will by default take you to the last project that you loaded. If you want, you can go to your My Projects list. There's a lot of them. I'm not going to go through them all. But on the left is a list of dictionary entries. They are highlighted with this orange highlight that you might see down here if they contain comments. You can filter, for example, I can say anything that has a picture. We now see there are 21 out of 31 entries, and we can see the different pictures, including a test picture. Each word or entry has one word, but you can have multiple writing systems. So here's one using the Thai alphabet and an IPA. You can attach pictures, you can choose a part of speech, you can attach semantic domains, multiple semantic domains if you want to, notes, and multiple example sentences. These are not real example sentences, but you can filter by audio. This project does not have audio, so it's not showing up in this list. You can see which ones have or do not have example sentences. So if you're trying to flesh out your dictionary with example sentences, that's a handy feature. There's sorting as you would expect. You can also look at which, you can invite other people via email, or you can send an invite link and copy it to the clipboard. First, you choose which rights you want to attach to this link. So if you only want a view-only link, then there's a view-only link, which I've now copied to my clipboard, and I can paste it in email. Or you can send email to other people to invite them, or you can change the access of any of these users here. Someone can manage, edit, comment, view, or be removed. It is also possible to change the view, although that gets rather long. I don't have that much time. I should probably skip that. In addition to the input view, you have a list, which is just an expanded version of the list appearing on the left side. Can also be filtered. And you have the same filtering options, has or doesn't have pictures, etc., as in the entry view. Finally, there is a send-receive system. This is the same send-receive as in Fieldworks. If you click the send-receive data button, the data goes to Lexbox. Someone in Fieldworks can then click send-receive and receive the data from Lexbox, and it has two-way sync, so you can go either way. So that allows people working on logged into the Language Road website to share data with linguists using the Fieldworks desktop application. Anyone logged into the website will see everyone else's changes on the website show up right away, but you need to go through a send-receive process in order to have the data show up in Fieldworks. And finally, this is the front page of the project, the one you will see the first time that you click on the project if you haven't worked in it before. There are some handy links to get a list of filtered entries, or you can just click work on this project to go back to the default project view that I showed you the first time. Any questions, anything else you want to see in this demo? Yes.
Can you make a comment? Show
Yes.
me how comments are done?
So you can either add, so you can click here to show a comment, and you can add a comment to the entry as a whole, or you can reply to comments. You can see here, for example, that here are some comments that come from the send-receive system. Fieldworks, they show up as little exclamation mark speech bubbles, and they show up in Language Forge as comments. But you can also click on a specific comment to type something about it. And a comment is associated with the person. You can give it a thumbs up, which is tracked. You can reply to comments. also mark comments as to do, which allows you to filter by to-do status, or you can mark it as resolved, which will remove it from the comments list. You might notice this now says 4 comments, or it used to say 5. But if I unresolve, now there are 5 comments, and the comment level shows up here. So this allows you to put comments on every individual part of the entry, which is slightly better at communicating with a distributed team than just a comment on the entry as a whole. Other people using Language Forge will see this. Fieldworks only has comments as a whole, I believe. So in Fieldworks, this will
On the
show up
entry.
on the entry, yes. So then Fieldworks, this will show up as a comment level on the whole entry, but it should, I don't have the ability to demonstrate it right now, it should actually say in the Fieldworks view what the comment was on. For example, meaning 1 definition. Now I'll click on this to hide the comments again. There's also an activity feed. It's not very meaningful for this test project because it wasn't tested in 12 years, but it will show changes to this entry. There's a separate activity feed for the project as a whole.
Thank you, Robin, for giving us that demonstration. Really appreciate it. Okay, let's get into some analytics. So some of our other presentations have had Google Analytics. So Language Forge does pull, it does have basic Google Analytics, and like, what am I supposed to make of these analytics? I'm not sure, but we're going to show them to you anyway. According to Google Analytics, we actually have, we're getting usage from 105 countries around the world. The top one being the United States and Guatemala, in second place, followed by Australia. It's very interesting. I can't really tell you more about that, but there you go. But it is fun to see a map of the world that's colored in with our user base. Okay. Google Analytics also provides us with some fun graphs of activity. According to Google Analytics, there are 1,500 total device users in the past 12 months, September to September. And so I put that at an average of about 10 daily device users. You'll see in a moment, I don't know exactly how to reconcile Google Analytics user counts with our system user counts of active users, right? Yeah, open question. So what we're looking at here are, so on the left-hand side, we've got by operating system, Windows closely followed by Android in second place, okay? So Android is like neck and neck with Windows, and Mac users are about a third of Windows users, followed by iOS and then Linux, and Chrome OS makes an appearance. Not sure who's out there with Chrome. You go. And then what we're looking at on the upper right are like this is like hits, I think, across like page views or something like that across time. I sure hope I'm getting that right because I've cut off the full graph. And then the bottom one is like daily users. Okay, so the average of 10 daily users is my own interpretation of the bottom graph, which slices, the first line is like a 20, so some days we're peaking above 20, sort of thing. We'll call an average of 10 daily users. Okay. In Google Play Console, so we have a Language Forge app in the Google Play Store, and that also gives us metrics on install base. Install base is really the only useful metric that I can get, all right? And we see here over time, in the last 12 months, our install base has actually climbed, like it's tripled, basically, from a year ago. And so that's really interesting to me. So we are now at a sustained install base of 100 devices that have Language Forge installed. Yes.
It looks like your install base started from 0.
Yeah,
More like 5.
yeah. I don't understand why it's like down at 0.
Right.
When I look at the statistics from 2 years ago when I pulled this, we were down at 30, but it was actually like doing like up and down type of thing. So I'm guessing that they're in this graph, the way
Maybe
they,
from this version.
That was my thought.
okay, that makes more sense than what I was just saying. So it's probably related to this particular version that was released right about that time. This graph corresponds almost perfectly with my 12-month time frame.
Right.
That's amazing. Thank you very much, Google Play. Okay, I was able to pull together some simple statistics from our Mongo database itself, and I filtered out all the test projects, and I said, I just want to know about the last 12 months. So I actually have a different set of stats, which I'm not going to show you for since 2020, basically 2020, January 1. Our active projects within 2020 for the last, we'll just say almost 4 years, is around 100 projects, okay? That people have been, like real projects, people use real projects that I can tell. What is a real project to Chris Hirt? A real project is one that has over 100 activity events in it, and it's not empty, okay? And it doesn't have test anywhere in the name. Okay? So three criteria. It has 100 of activity events, like add entry, delete entry, add a comment, you know, that sort of thing. So if you're at 50, I don't count you. You're not as important to make the stats. So with that threshold, looking at the last 12 months, we have 31 active projects. And within the last 7 days, actually, there are 6 projects that have been working in the last week, and they're doing stuff on Language Forge. So that's kind of encouraging to me. This is small potatoes, right? But there's still people using it. When I look at active users compared to the previous slide with like 1,500, this is a small number. But this is 118 people that have been using it within the last, actually like active users is more like last month or so. And I know exactly who you are. I've got your email. With Google Analytics, I have no idea who you are. And in fact, if you use 3 different browsers and the Android app, that probably counts as like 4 or 5 or half a dozen. The number of projects out of the 31 that have comments is 22. So that's like 2/3 of our projects are using the commenting feature. The total number of entries across all of these 31 projects is 108,000. That's an average of about 3,500 entries per project. And the total number of comments across my 30 special active projects is around 2,500-ish, and so call it an average of 80 comments per project. I think I did the math right. Is that something? Yeah, we'll call it good. Okay, thank you. The mathematicians keeping me honest here. I don't have more fancy statistics, and I hope to do maybe another presentation once I crunch some more numbers. This is really too small to capture on the live stream, but essentially, dare I try and like zoom in? I'm not going to try that. In the last 12 months, I've got the 31 projects. They've been anonymized, so they each have a number on the bottom, 1 through 31, and you can basically just tell like what each of these projects, what sort of their attributes. So the most this is sorted by active projects times 100. So on the left side, project number 1 has over 10,000 activity events. So 10,000 like adding a new entry, editing an entry. It's probably mostly edits. So I need to dig more into that. You can also see that project number 2 has over 100 active use. No, sorry, I said that wrong. That's comments. There are projects, I think number 21 is over 20 active users. So if you have 20 active users, I'd call that like a pretty good sized project where you're collaborating. So we can see from this graph like who's collaborating, who's doing solo work. As it turns out, project number 1 only has 1 active user. That's not a collaborative dictionary. That's someone who's like cranking away. 1 person. So this software is being used in different ways. Some projects have pictures. In fact, project number 6 has times 10, 400 pictures or so. And other projects not so much. And then like obviously some of these projects have quite a number of, well, we'll just say some of them are approaching 10,000 entries. Okay, any questions about this graph? I know it's not very pretty to look at, but you can dig into it, and I want to get more stats later. Yeah. Okay, so big question, what's on the roadmap for Language Forge? So Language Forge is currently in maintenance mode, and I'm going to call, like, I haven't come out and said this publicly, but essentially we're calling this Language Forge Classic. And what that means is that we're going to continue to support Language Forge in its current version. We'll push out security fixes and bug fixes for features that are already shipped, but we're not planning on any new features in this current iteration or version of Language Forge. Our team is going to invest in Fieldworks Lite and Lexbox API technology, and that means that Language Forge Classic will continue to run for on into the future, but in its current version. And we'll continue to integrate, we plan to integrate things more and more with Lexbox.org. No plans to retire our existing service without a suitable replacement that has similar features. So we're not going to leave people out hanging out to dry. We know that people are using commenting and audio recording and pictures and things like that, and so we're not going to discontinue Language Forge anytime soon until there's something out there that fills the need. Okay? So don't worry. And I think that's the end of my slides and presentation. Are there any questions?